Take it away, Mike.
Thanks, AJ. Hey, welcome, Broncos. It's time to dial up the good vibes because Crossing the Alameda is all about bringing the incredible Santa Clara class of 91 back together. We're here to talk about our golden years at Santa Clara, the wild ride since, and trying to cross the Alameda. This isn't just a podcast. It's our chance to reconnect, share some laughs, and genuinely catch up with the people we started this journey with. Think of it as hitting the rewind button on old friendships, discovering what everyone's been up to, and celebrating the awesome lives we have built since walking across the stage at the Mission. So, grab your favorite beverage, kick back, and let's get ready to hear from our very own. Now, today, I'm your host, Mike Kline. You might remember me as Kleiner, riding my skateboard across campus to science class, or running down the lacrosse field past all the couches. And today, I have a great cast of people, familiar faces, joining me. First, if you didn't see him on the rugby field or at the hut, you definitely knew someone who did, which brings us to the unofficial title, The 6 Degrees of AJ, because it seems like everyone is connected to AJ. Since leaving Santa Clara, he has been a leader who has spent decades cultivating creative teams in high-performance environments. He's the driving force behind some incredible projects, from Academy Award-winning films to a Webby-winning mobile app. His work is so iconic, you've probably already seen it. Think about the way Sully walks in Monsters, Inc., or the voice of Lightning McQueen's biggest fan. Yep, we know this guy. So please give me a huge welcome to the incredibly talented AJ Riebli.
Come on, Broncos, ka-chow. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Brilliant, AJ. So great to have you here.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
I'm so happy
absolutely.
to be here.
Good. Second, joining us today is an incredible member of our class who traded the sun of Southern California for the scenic views of Portland, Oregon. Since our days at Santa Clara, she's dedicated herself to empowering others, transforming her career into that of a transformational coach and podcaster. She works with women of all ages who are on the verge of burnout and are finally ready to put themselves first. She helps them to reconnect with their passion and identify their unique gifts. And finally, they can enjoy the successes that they have achieved. Please join me in giving a big welcome to our very own Kari Morin. Hi, Kari.
Hello. Hi. It's funny. I'm in sunny Southern California. It's not sunny right now.
Welcome. And next up on the playlist is a true Renaissance man and a creative force behind the music. He even put the music together for our podcast. You may remember him from the days at Santa Clara or heard him play with his band, the Dad Beats. But since then, he has gone on to co-found Story Mechanics, an audio production company that specializes in podcast and musical storytelling. So please give a warm welcome to Charles Michelet. Hello, Charles.
Hello, thank you. It's great to be here and see you guys.
I'm so excited for all of you to be here. This is great that we're kicking off this podcast. Let me just first ask AJ, how did you like that introduction? How did it make you feel?
I guess hopefully in 35 or plus years since Santa Clara, you've done something with your life. I don't know. I've had a lot of fun over the last 56 years on this planet, and a lot of it really kind of stems out of my relationships and my education from Santa Clara. And I have the best family. I have my own best family, and then my Bronco family is pretty unbelievable. So, I think it's a little humbling. When Mike called me about this podcast idea, actually he emailed me out of nowhere, and I don't know, Mike and I probably haven't talked in a while, right, Mike? I mean, it must have been like maybe 10, 15 years, and
yeah, I think it's 2016 like, at the reunion.
Oh my Lord, yeah. So out of nowhere, Mike emails me and says, "Hey, I'm walking through the countryside of the UK, as you do." So he's walking through the countryside in Surrey. And I'm thinking like, oh, it's a little all creatures great and small moment. Mike says that, hey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, and the first person I thought of was you. And I was super flattered, and I've been looking for a new creative outlet. And I just want to thank Mike for reaching out to me. And then we started brainstorming. We got on a WhatsApp, heaven forbid you get on a WhatsApp application and talk via, an app. And Mike and I had a great hour catch up. And then we started spitballing ideas. And I said, we should probably get somebody that maybe has done this before. And we started throwing a list together, and then Kari's name came up. And then I remember Charles from my comm days as a comm major in St. Joseph Hall. And Charles is just one of these kind of bedrock people that kind of always stuck with me. I mean, Charles and I had talked forever. I reached out to Charles, and I was looking at Charles' resume and like Citizens Radio and the kind of stuff he's done for public TV. And I'm like, and then then I stumble onto the fact that he's part of Story Mechanics. He's founded his own production company. And I'm like, that's somebody else we need to add to the group. And so I am feeling super blessed to be with these three other very talented Broncos. So I just want to say thank you for having me here today. And let's have some fun and see where this goes.
Awesome. Thanks, AJ. I'm so glad you picked up the email and the WhatsApp. This has been so much fun to reconnect with the four of you. Kari, what about you? How did that land with you, that introduction?
It is so funny to hear. I do this a lot with people. I ask them, like, what does it feel like? And to hear that, and it's so funny to me to think about that I have some podcast experience and that you thought of me, because right after college, I was really in nonprofit and education for so long. So, we're old enough now that a lot of us are in second careers and have done many different things. So it's fun. It makes me feel a little seasoned, which is my mom's word for older, seasoned. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I, like AJ, I'm humbled by this group, and I am really enjoying reconnecting. This has been a blast, just kind of reconnecting and hearing where you all are. And I'm super impressed. And having raised kids now who are fans of some of your work, and are musicians and have traveled. It's just really cool. It's my favorite thing about Santa Clara alumni is they're just the coolest people. They've done really interesting things, and I'm just along for the ride.
Fantastic. And then Charles, did I nail it, or does it need a rewind?
Well, there's always so much, it's hard to encapsulate everything into a quick introduction, but you did a great job. And, it makes me think of the passage of time, and with kids of my own, as we all have, you become very keenly aware of how much has changed and how much we've changed and how much we've been influenced by, our time at Santa Clara. And it's just great to be here. I'm excited to hear the stories of everyone, what they've been doing since, and reminisce about the stories we all shared together while we were there.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it is. I'm blessed, my colleagues have said. I'm blessed here, along with these three, to be your co-host on this journey of this podcast. Now, in case we didn't explain it very well, let me step back a little. So the purpose of the podcast really is to allow us to reconnect. And the idea is that amongst us four hosts, we might not always host every show together, but amongst us four hosts, we're going to have a podcast. And in that podcast, we're going to invite Santa Clara alumni from the class of 91, join us and have a conversation. But not only, it could be one alumni, or maybe a couple that got married at Santa Clara, because we know that happened on occasion. A married couple can join us, and we can have that interview on the show thatself. We won't spare any punches or be referees. We'll just let it play out as it is. And, if you want to bring a friend along, if you want to nominate someone, hey, great. Any person we want to have on this show that wants to participate and reconnect, that's the idea. With that, today's format's a little different because we're introducing the show. We have the four of us here today. But typically our format might run something like this. We have our guest, and we talk to our guest, introduce the guest, and then we talk about Santa Clara. So we take them back to Santa Clara, the Mission, Gardens, the library, wherever they might have liked to hang out, maybe the hut. We take them back with our nostalgic questions. So we take them through those questions, become familiar with their days at Santa Clara, and then we move on to where they've been. What's their journey been like? What have they done since they graduated from Santa Clara all the way to today? And so we can have that conversation with them and ask them some questions about what's going on in life today. And then we'll finish with a fun little section called the Fast and the Fast Five, I think we called it, where we just ask five
the fun and
questions.
Fast Five, Mike. The fun and Fast Five.
That's right. Thanks, AJ. The Fun and Fast Five, where we just do some lightning questions, some quick answers to get to know, again, a little more about our current friends and what's maybe going on for them today. And so that's kind of the format. Again, we can have one guest alumni. We can have friends come on board. Maybe some roommates want to make fun of each other or talk the stories that we all forget about. Or, you can just come along as you see fit. But the idea is really to have an opportunity to reconnect the class of 1991. Just have the fun to get to know each other again, have those stories. And, who knows, maybe we'll see all each other at the reunion next year for our 35th. Okay. So that's me. And AJ already expressed, I had the idea, but it was really just to reconnect. But I'm curious, I'm going to let my co-host also put their 2 cents in about the podcast, what it means to them, what they hope to achieve from it. Or, that's pretty strong words there. But, what do they want out of the podcast? Who wants to go first?
I'll start. So I was at the 25th reunion, and I think AJ and I reconnected for the first time in probably 25 years. And he caught me up with what was happening. And it was such a fantastic reconnection. And that's what I am looking forward to for this podcast. I'd love to hear the stories of, what happens since graduation and what's the twisted paths we all take to find our way in this world. And AJ has such a great story, and I know there are more stories out there. We connected just to start talking about this podcast. I got to meet and talk with Michael, Kari, and hearing their stories, and it's inspiring, because it's a long road to hear people. A lot of times you only hear the end point, and it's like, well, this is what I do now, but the most interesting part is, well, how did you get there? What things shaped you? What choices did you make? And I think that's what I'm most excited about to hear in this podcast.
Brilliant. Thank you, Charles.
I'll go next.
AJ?
So good.
Kari,
Go, Kari. No, I defer to the lovely Kari Morin.
Okay. I got a little choked up listening to you, Charles, because as we've talked about in preparing for this, we all have kids that are kind of on that road that we've been on. And so it's really neat to reflect and be inspired and see all the different types of paths people can take. And so, yes, I want to echo that. I agree that it's inspiring, it's amusing, it's just such a feel-good reconnection with people that you maybe didn't even know well before, and you get to connect with them now. I love it. So yeah, I think there's so many fun reasons to do this, and I laughed about Mike. You reached out and I was like, yeah, great idea. Like it was a drive-by, and you were like, no, do you want to do it with us? And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be so fun. The more I thought about it, and I get to run into a lot of people in Portland who are from Santa Clara. Everybody loves the idea. So just really excited about this.
Great. Well, I'm sure glad you agreed to the idea. When I got the response, I'm like, wait a minute, no. I want you to be a part of the show. So I'm very glad you've accepted to be the host. And it's classic. It's great.
Mike, Kari, Charles. Hey, I was with a bunch of class of 90 people last week, and they're just pissed off that they didn't think about it. So there you go. We beat you to the punch. Ha, ha, ha. Anyways, they're having their 35th reunion this year, so props to all my friends in the class of 1990. I do think, and just for full disclosure, this is probably the third or fourth meeting we've had as a group. And I now really look forward to seeing everybody. And I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen people in person in a long time. Obviously, we had the COVID bump. I would tell you right now that this has been, I think at its core, people, we joke, right? Everybody's got a podcast now, but like, why wouldn't we? I do think it's important for just connectivity, just to kind of talk about, you know, our own humanity. And I think what's been really great about this idea is that I've gotten to see so many. I mean, when Kari rolls out her story, or Mike rolls out their story, or Charles has rolled out their where have you been since Santa Clara? They're unbelievable paths, they're unbelievable journeys. We're also kind of in a parenting situation, which is a whole other level of, as I told Kari, like we laugh about, you know, I didn't realize at 50 plus I was gonna have to parent up and parent down. I call it the parenting elevator. I think a lot of us have all been in it. It's like, wait a minute, why am I parenting my 80-plus-year-old parents? I didn't realize this was part of the plan. But I think that's kind of what makes Gen X awesome, because we're the bridge, right? We're the bridge from analog to digital. Here we are. We're using, I don't even know what this AI software is going to do with this podcast, but like, we're adapting. We're always adapting. We're always kind of like not defeated, just like, okay, what's next? And how do we get over that hurdle? How do we get around that hurdle? You know, how do we dig under that hurdle or jump over it? I don't know. But it's so critical to have discussion. And I think what's really great is that I think our peer group is not afraid to talk about things. And I'm so thrilled to be able to bring on fellow classmates and talk about their journeys. And let me tell you what, our class is really interesting. And about Mike and I kind of shot back and forth, and we have a sheet of possible guests, and we were up to like 50 people on the possible guest list. And we want to hear more. We want more people to say, hey, I want to be part of this. I want to come talk about my journey. I want to kind of talk about what Santa Clara provided me, and as a, you know, as a springboard into life. And I think it's pretty powerful stuff. I think, you know, and everybody, you know, bottom line, everybody knows one thing, and that one thing is themselves. And so I think it's really great to talk about that topic with others and say, you know, tell me about yourself. Tell me about what you've been doing for like the last, you know, 30 plus years. How's that going? And, you know, we all fail. We fail more than we succeed, but we'd love to hear about the failures as well as the successes in life. And that's why we're doing it. So we're pretty thrilled to start getting stories, because everybody likes storytelling is really important, you know, because it's about the life experience. So that's what we're going to try and dig up in this crossing. Is it Crossing the Alameda, or is it Crossing the Alameda?
Actually, yeah, I wanted to ask Kari about that. She was the clever one who came up with this name, and I think it's. You can probably tell now I've lived in the UK for a while because I use the word brilliant so often. But I think it's a brilliant name, and I laughed as soon as I heard it, because Crossing the Alameda means so much to us from our class. But Kari, if you want to
Well,
talk about it a little more, that'd be great.
yeah, I think that it was one of the ideas we tossed around because it's unique to our class. When I was my junior year, like so many of our classmates, I was studying it overseas. I was studying in France. And when I got back during that time, during the fall of 89, must have been because I got back in the winter of 90, the Alameda was finally closed off. Like my brother and sister went to Santa Clara. They always crossed that street. We always did, to go to the library or to join those two parts of campus. And it was finally cut off in what, you know, was eventually going to become what it has been for a while now, an enclosed campus. And people would make fun of me when I would walk. I'd like kind of look both ways before I'd cross. They're like, what are you doing? Like, there used to be cars here. So I think that's just a funny thing for people now to go and remember that there was even a street there. It's not detectable, is it?
It's
I
not.
think
You know, but
I used to look all the time across the street going to lacrosse practice. You know,
Yeah.
people look at you.
Yeah.
it was
What are you doing?
dicey. It was a,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
but it's funny when I
Yeah.
went back, and that was the first time I was back in 25 years, and it took me a while to reorient myself. It's like, where am I on campus? Because it's so beautifully landscaped now that I didn't even know where it was. I couldn't
Yeah.
get my bearings anymore. It's like it wasn't until I got to, I think, St. Joseph's Hall. I'm like, okay, now I know where I am. You know,
Mhm.
Poor old St. Joseph's Hall. And I'll tell you what, Locatelli, unbelievable. I think he got 20 buildings built in 20 years, right? So like when we went to school there, there's cars going through the middle of campus, and like, you know, you got to look both ways, and, you know, and now you go there and you know, I like that they build themselves as you know, the Jesuit University in Silicon Valley. Like, okay, I mean, that's you check a box. But like, you go to that university and it feels like, not that it ever felt like a legitimate university, but it is like a legitimate university. It is like, the campus is always stunning. I mean, how you've evolved it into making it something that's more beautiful, it blows my mind. And actually, one of the funniest things that, and this was during COVID, but like Santa Clara did a promotion. Kline, you could have been one of these guys. One of their promotions for getting kids to come to the campus because of COVID was they had a skateboard tour of campus, right? So my son, who just graduated from Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio, another Jesuit school, he's for some reason didn't want to apply to Santa Clara, and that's okay. That's his call. And I didn't pressure him. But as we were looking for schools, and sometimes you had to look at schools online because you couldn't go visit them in person, I stumbled onto Santa Clara's promotional, come to Santa Clara, and it was Santa Clara by skateboard, and my kid's a skateboarder. And after we watched one video, he's like, what, Dad, why don't you make me apply there? I'm like, dude, I've been taking you there since you were an infant. You were baptized by Father Caz. What do I need to tell you about Santa Clara? But then all of a sudden, like, skateboarding through Santa Clara in this beautiful campus became the selling point. And I'm like, I give up. I give up. As a parent, I clearly have failed my job, but I'm glad that skateboarding the campus in Santa Clara was hit a chord. I didn't know. I mean, maybe I should have gone down there, and I should have called you, Kline. You could have taken my kids skating around campus, and that would have been it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Brilliant. Yes, if only our children listened to us the first time.
Well, yeah, but like, did we listen to our parents? I mean, it's like my dad's like, don't ride a motorcycle. Oh yeah, whatever. Totally, crash, wreck myself. I guess Dad was right. Like, we learned the hard way because what our parents, I think that's what we all try to do. We're trying to tell our kids, like, there's so many, tiger traps laid out in life, and like, we've already fallen in them. And I'm always like, look, there's a tiger trap right there. Like, well, is there really a tiger trap? And then they have to fall through it. I mean, look, I don't know. I mean,
Yes.
I think
They
that's
have
one
to
of the
figure it
funny
out.
things about us as Gen Xers is that they have to figure it out. They just have to. And you've already kind of lived through it, every hypothetical on the planet, and yet they need to test their own hypotheticals. So I don't understand.
Classic stuff. Well, so that's the bulk of our first podcast. So we hope you enjoyed that part. But now we're going to come up to a little fun where we're going to do the Fun and Fast 5. That's right. Fun and Fast 5. We have the name for them. And let's see. Do we have a volunteer go first?
Yeah. Come on, man. I love this. This is my favorite. I love the speed round. It's so good. And you guys are so brilliant. And I think this is going to be hilarious. And I honestly, I think as part of the podcast, people will watch this, but maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. But like, let's not tell them what the 5 is, because I think it's better to be kind of like in the moment, feeling what you feel. I think you get really authentic answers because people got to be like, and then what'll always happen is like 5 minutes, like, oh, that was a dumb answer. But I think you have to live with the consequences of being in the moment. Okay. Here we go.
Do remember, we have the 5 first questions for the nostalgia, which can always throw people for a little loop. I myself am a little worried about learning some of these stories again, or maybe learning a new one when we go forward.
Me too. The 5. Yeah, when I get the 5 nostalgia for how was Santa Clara, I also think there'll be a lot of revisionist history too. Like, or like, I wasn't there. It's like, plausible deniability. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. I wasn't there.
There's no video
let's go.
proof.
I'm going to start with Charles. Here we go.
Oh, all right.
There's no video proof. There's no digital zeros and ones capturing quasi questionable behavior. I didn't say bad, just questionable. All right, Charles, here we go.
All right.
Fun and Fast 5. You ready? Start the clock. Okay. If you could have coffee with a historical figure, who would it be and why?
Okay. Put some thought to this one. Because last time I stalled. But I honestly think that I would love to have coffee with Kurt Vonnegut. one of my favorite authors. I remember my mom started giving me a lot of his books when she thought I was ready to start to dive in. And has such a fabulous writing style, such a magnificent brain and way of thinking, and just seemed like a genuinely nice person. So that would be my choice.
By the way, Kurt Vonnegut cameo, what movie, people? Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, Back to School. There you
That's
go.
cool.
Little
Yes.
plug.
And Vonnegut, he fires Kurt Vonnegut because he says Vonnegut doesn't know shit about Vonnegut. And that is so hilarious. It's like, that's probably one of the best cameos ever in a movie. That's amazing. Love it. That's so good. Charles, what's one thing you're currently binge watching or reading?
We are currently binge watching. We just finished Severance and a number of other ones for the seasons up to date, but we are currently binging Peaky Blinders, which is a real left turn for us. It's so violent. It's like, a lot of times my wife and I just hold each other, like cringe, like, but we just keep watching. But I think I was saying that we were surprised that we weren't that far into it. We've got a number of seasons to go, and somebody asked us when we told them we were watching Peaky Blinders, "Oh, well, where are you in it?" And my wife said, "Oh, well, I think we're on the third season." And they got really excited and started telling us, "Oh, well, what do you think about this scene?" And we suddenly realized we're only in the first season. It just seems like every episode is so much that we thought we were further ahead, and so we were a little chagrined and said, "No, I'm sorry, we're actually still in the first season, but we like it."
And Charles, as somebody who loves music, come on, are you kidding me? Nick Cave, Bad Seeds. I mean,
the music is fantastic.
Jack White's got.
Yeah.
I mean, the music is so unbelievably.
So good.
It is so good. I can't wait for you to. I can't wait for you to get to the last season. Can't wait.
So
I
we
hope
can all
you
talk
make it.
about
I
it
hope.
then.
I hope you make it. I hope you make it. But
I think we'll make it. There's something we're supposed to watch for, right? What was it? Was it in the third season? You
the
were saying
I think the episode before the final episode has one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen, where I go back and I watch it like 10 times because it's so dynamic and smart and
duly noted. All right, I'm ready.
A comfort food. I know what you got. Here we go. What do you got?
Comfort food. Oh, it's got to be pizza here on the East Coast. All the pizzerias in Brooklyn. We did a tour of them. My family and I would go down to Coney Island. Great pizzerias down there, and of course, here in New Jersey, it's very much the same. There's a little battle between who has the better pizza, New York or New Jersey. And we may never settle this, but the good news is it's just a lot of great pizza. So you can't lose. You can fight about it all you want, but you're not going to lose.
Well, what's your top slice? I'm going to put you on the spot, and you're going to probably take a little heat. But what's your top slice? What do you got?
Oh man, it's hard. I mean, I do love the margarita pizza, with the big slices of big slices of basil on it and olive oil. That's funny. That reminds me, I've got time for a quick story. When we took our daughter, when she was eating solid food, we took her down to DeFara's on it's down in South Brooklyn. And it was the funniest thing. It's a tiny little shop. DeFara, the elder, would make the pizza, and he had all these sons, and they all just sat around and they watched. And so you'd walk into the pizza shop, and it was quiet as a church. And it's filled with people just sitting and watching this crazy old man shred, basil leaves and place them carefully on the pizza. Everybody's in silence, just watching him. His sons couldn't help. They could run the register, but they weren't allowed to touch the pizza. It was just the old man. That's all he did, is he made the pizza. And that's why it was always crowded, because you're waiting for this one guy, slow, carefully crafting every pizza. So that was definitely my go-to. Second, Totano's down in Coney Island. Magnificent. They would open up in the morning, and if they ran out of an ingredient, they just closed, and that was it. So you got to get there early. And
that's pretty serious stuff. Now I want to come east. I'm going to come east and visit you. We're going to pizza tour.
Come on. I'll take you out. I'll take you to the hot dog shops, too.
I'm 100% in. Okay, number 4. Here we go. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what's an entirely different career you might have pursued?
Okay. I put some thought into this well, so I am sorry I am prepared. I would definitely All right. Last time I was like, I would be an architect. I think that was something I thought about. You know what? I think nothing would give me more pleasure. Now that I'm older, I appreciate a well laid out house in a location with, now that I know what I'm looking for, it's like I would love to be involved in that stage. And I really appreciate a beautifully built, a beautifully laid out house. And I would love to have been in on that process.
Although, to be fair, I do think your answer about being a motorcycle mechanic last time was an extraordinarily, it was an extraordinarily good
And
answer.
it goes better with Kurt Vonnegut too.
What's on your bucket list that you're actively working toward? Hence,
that will go back to the motorcycles. And I've recently acquired a beautiful 2012 motorcycle with a sidecar, trying to get the dog into it. I would love to take a trip in that. I've talked to some people that have done it, and they're very enthusiastic. I think taking a couple of weeks and exploring, just some new spaces, maybe a different country, would be fantastic. So I am currently in the research phase of doing that.
Ireland's calling you. I think Ireland and a
Ireland's
bike and a sidecar with your dog. Tell us what your dog is, by the way. What do you got?
We have a Bernese mountain dog.
So small dog.
Just got him. A small dog. Yeah, we got him small, and he is, within a year, he's amazingly large. We picked him up last September, so he's about a year and 2 months now, and he is just fantastic. Best temperament, just the most lovely dog that you could imagine. And my daughter and I just had him at the dog park earlier this morning. He loves it. He loves to play with his friends.
What's his name?
He's just Marlowe. Marlowe the dog. Yeah, I'll send you guys some photos. He's just fantastic.
It.
He's just,
that's what we could do. We could add, I mean, we get further down the line, we add a little media in here. We get Marlowe the dog. Maybe we flash a little Kurt Vonnegut. I don't know. All right. Hey, moving on to the lovely Kari Morin at Square. What are you, upper left quadrant in this video? Here we go, Kari. If you could have coffee with a historical figure, who would it be and why?
I think I'm going to say the same because I still feel this way. I think Jesus, because getting thrown around a lot, and I'm just curious what he would do. Everyone always is like WWJD. I'm just curious what he'd have to say about a lot of life right now. And I've always said that, though. I just think it would be fascinating as a historical figure, whether it's part of your faith practice or not. I think people could agree. Really interesting guy.
I would agree with that. By the way, on my bucket list, Shroud of Turin. That's on my bucket list. Has anybody seen the Shroud? Anybody?
No? That is on my list too. I have always wanted to. Yes.
Maybe that's our pilgrimage. Maybe the four of us will go to Turin. We'll get the tour. I love that science can't unprove it. That's my favorite part about the Shroud.
I love that too.
And by the way, on another podcast, Billy Friedkin is interviewed. Mark Maron interviews Billy Friedkin. Billy Friedkin has the director of The Exorcist, was a devout Shroud of Turin guy. And it's the most amazing podcast. Like, hey, I'm plugging you, WTF, Mark Maron, he's amazing. The Billy Friedkin interview is off the charts. I mean, for somebody who loves movies, but somebody who loves storytelling, Billy Friedkin, Shroud of Turin, check it out. There we go. All right.
I'm putting that on my list. And I will
you
say
should.
this.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. My brother-in-law is a Jesuit, and so I get to have dinner at their community sometimes with them, and they talk about the Shroud of Turin. So that has been on my list too. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna make that happen. I think that's a good long-term goal. What's one thing you're currently binge watching or reading?
Well, honestly, I'm going to borrow this from some comedian, but I more microdose things, not because of timing. So my husband and I, when we can align planets, we're watching The Studio, which is really fun. I'm reading James by Percival Everett finally, and it's great too. So I love both of them.
Amazing. What's your comfort food? What do you got? Go to. Where are you going?
Either ramen or miso soup. Yeah.
What kind of ramen?
Something Asian.
What style? Do you have
I
like a
mean,
particular style? Like, there's so many now. Like all of a sudden,
well, yeah,
like
I think I've
ramen's blowing up.
evolved past like swig ramen, but I like ramen with like I mean if all I can do is like ramen and broth, I'll do it, but I like it with lots of veggies and some protein in it.
Ugh, now I'm all excited about ramen. I'm gonna have to go to that for breakfast.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what's an entirely different career you might have pursued?
I think journalism. Yeah. I there's a lot of times where I kind of wondered what that would have been like, and I love to write anyway, and I've kind of got an investigative brain. I geek out on stuff all the time. I think, and also I think I was just raised by my dad to read all sides of everything and really, kind of form your own opinion. And so I've always paid attention to that. And I follow a lot of journalists who I feel like try to do that.
I love that you just mentioned the all five. Because they did mention, Charles, did you take journalism at Santa Clara? Because I think you had to take one journalism class, and it was always about the five. You had to go get the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Right.
so good. All right, last one. What's on your bucket list of things you're actively working towards?
So our classmate, Beth Riffle, she's just finishing up the Camino, walking the Camino. That is like things like that, or, like Tour Mont Blanc are on my bucket list. And so we do little, like my boys, 2 of my boys really love to go backpacking, just planning little trips to do like bike camping or backpacking. And luckily I live near the gorge, so you can do a lot of hiking to work towards those things. But I didn't know until Beth texted me that there's some of it's pretty physically challenging. I just thought people were walking for days. But I know some of the other things I want to do are really they're hard. And my husband and I tend to do a lot of things like that. Like we were in Vancouver and we did the Grouse Mountain, just vertical 3,000 steps to the top. And I'm like, we're like formerly fit, stubborn people who just do these things. And we're like, yeah, we could have done this a little bit better, but we do it. So yeah, I would love to just keep working towards things like that. Anything that gets me outside and moving and just seeing this beautiful world, anything like that.
I love
And
it.
my
Thank
oldest
you,
daughter
Kari,
right now
for
is on the
sharing.
El Camino. She's doing the walk.
Oh,
And
she
a lot of
is.
people in
Is
my
Beth
family
still
have done the
Is
walk.
Beth on the
It's
El Camino
brilliant.
still? Is Beth still on the El Camino?
They might be done. No, they might be still on
They
it.
should
They
hook
might be
up.
still on it. Yeah.
That would be a
Yeah.
riot. That'd be a riot. Wait, you look familiar, but you're a female.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you saying your daughter
So
looks a little
funny.
bit like you, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
She's better looking than I am, but let's see, actually, here.
It's funny that you guys are asking about bucket list because one of my wonderful sons has a disability. And so we kind of moved into, and sometimes he's not very mobile, sometimes he is. Really depends on how he's doing physically in relation to seizures. But we've kind of moved from bucket list to fuck it list. Can I say that?
Yeah, of
And
course you
it's
can.
just like
I don't mind.
pivot. We have this big goal, and then this happens, like pivot, let's do this instead. Like, so it's kind of like I love bucket lists, but I also think it's always great to like have another thing you can make work too, just to like keep moving.
What was that list name again? What'd you call it?
Bucket list.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I appreciate.
We can't get to that. Fuck it. Let's do this instead. Yeah.
I love it.
Life's about pivots, right? There we go. I love it. The fuck it list.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
I'm in. All right, Mike Kline. If you could have coffee or tea or energy drink, I don't know, with historical figure, who would it be and why?
Coffee for me, yes. Coffee would be good. Yeah, I love the answers that Charles and Kari gave. They're brilliant. But I've always been fascinated by Mark Twain. He seemed to be so ahead of his time, but he seemed to be so worldly for someone from the middle of America. I forget how he crossed America, but I was always just so fascinated to read past interviews with him or storytelling or who he's connected with, some of his travels and some of his quotes. I just find absolutely fascinating and poignant, and so that would be my choice. Mark,
I love it. Mark Twain, the great Mark Twain. AKA, what was his real name?
Samuel, I always forget.
Samuel Clemens. You knew.
Yeah,
You knew it was in the back of your brain. I know you knew it. Samuel Clemens. The Jumping Frogs of Calaveras County.
Yeah,
I like that he wrote a little bit about California, and it's
that's true.
amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
What's one thing you're currently binge watching or reading?
So binge watching, it's been kind of up and down, but we just started the studio in our house, and also the Chief of War.
It's good.
But I also started a new job, so I don't have that time to binge as I would like. But the studio definitely gives me some good laughs. And you and AJ, you know, we have the history of the islands, and so it's nice to see something about Hawaii and the islands and how it was reunited. Or unified under one chief. So very I'm excited to finish that up. But this year has been all about books. I mean, and I think I had a sabbatical from work, which is quite nice, and I think I went through like 16 books, and it was just so much fun to just read books, and the one I'm reading right now is East of Eden by Steinbeck, and I just remember how much I like Steinbeck. Just brilliant, yeah. So those are those.
I do like a little John Steinbeck, another California writer.
Yeah.
Not trying to take a victory lap for California storytelling, but
California, man.
California. What's your go-to food? What do you got? What's happening?
I'm like Charles. I gotta say pizza. You know, if it's a good Friday, pizza. If it's a bad Friday, pizza. I'm actually very excited because I've perfected my pizza dough this year. And I have cheated because I've kind of taken it from a restaurant and their recipe. But oh my gosh, it takes me about 18 hours to get this ready. Not total touch time with the dough, of course, but it's a process. But I'm so excited because it turned out so well. And now I'm excited to turn my sights on now making a really good sauce for the pizza. But yeah, a good pizza, definitely comfort food.
Let me ask you, what are you cooking that pizza in? Do you have your own wood-fired stove? Are you using the tabletop, whatever? What are those little, I mean, I can't believe people
I have a pizza stone that I heat up in the oven.
All right, there we go. At what temp? What do you?
I'm trying to negotiate with Freddie, my partner, if she'll let me buy a pizza oven. But, right now we got the oven and I got my pizza stone. I'm sure if I perfect the sauce, she'll let me get the pizza oven.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. So therefore, that's the next logical move is to get the pizza. Oh, I do love pizza. Okay, here we go. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what's an entirely different career you might have pursued?
Yeah, you probably ask me on different days. If I was at the beach, it would be like marine biologist, so I could stay at the beach all the time. But I think if I really think about it, I would go back to like hotel management. I'd like to run a hotel. I watched White Lotus. I don't know if you guys have watched White Lotus. I thought it was brilliant. And while I was at university, I actually worked in some of the hotels in Maui, just up the road from the first season. Yeah, it was that zany sometimes. Not that I would run a hotel like that, of course, but I think just to give people a really nice, positive experience. Another thing that my partner and I would like to do, we like to go out and eat at nice restaurants. And so to provide a nice hotel experience, to provide a nice restaurant experience for people, I think would be something that I would really enjoy. Hey, by no means would it be easy. I know that. After watching The Bear and my brother who's been in, the food business for 30 years, every second counts. But it would be a fun challenge. And just to give that people that experience, I think would be a lot of fun.
Man. All right. What's the one thing on your bucket list that you're actively working toward?
Yeah, so I'm definitely planning a lot of trips at the moment. But the one trip that I'm kind of working on, because I need to get some activities done, is I'm planning a motorcycle trip through Japan. So my buddy and I, I used to ride motorcycles. It's been, ever since basically my first kid came along, I stopped riding motorcycles. But I'm going to pick it up again. So I got to get my license, got to get my endorsement, got to get the motorcycle. And then my buddy and I are going to take a trip through Japan.
Amazing. Love it.
And now we get to ask AJ.
Well,
does that leave me?
So AJ.
That leaves you. Who wants to go and ask AJ?
So what historical figure are you sitting down for coffee, tea, or energy drink with?
I'm sitting down with the greatest that it hasn't changed. I'd sit down with Ali. I'd sit down with Muhammad Ali and talk about peace, talk about life, talk about standing up for what you believe in, speaking your truth. And you talk about a guy who had an insane ride, ups and downs, from being gold medal winner to not being able to sit at a lunch counter in his hometown of Louisville, to, you know, converting to Islam, to watching Malcolm X murdered, to doubting his faith, to then just kind of making his kind of quest to make the world a better place across the board. And if you ever get a chance, the Ali Center in Louisville, Kentucky is worth your price of admission. I went with my son there when he was looking at colleges in the Midwest, and they start you off with a 15-minute movie, and I was crying in two, and I have no problem with my tears because I do believe that Ali, you know, backed up his words with action, and I think that's a powerful thing. And you know, when you watch the movie, you see him with Mother Teresa in Calcutta, you see him with the Dalai Lama, you see him actively working toward a better world, and he's a great American. I mean, he represented our country and continued to be a global ambassador for the United States. And I think he is what's good about our country. And I think that, you know, you could learn a lot from kind of, you might want to jab first, but you also might want to think about how am I going to work to a better result for everybody. So Ali, he's the greatest. There you go.
Great one.
I get choked up thinking about that guy.
Me too.
So what do we got next? What do we got?
What's the one thing you're currently binge watching or reading?
Yeah, as Mike said, you know, I'm currently, and Mike, I just watched the final episode of Chief of War on Friday. I've been binge watching Chief of War. Hawaii has a very personal connection for me. My mom's from Hawaii. My in-laws retired to the Big Island. I had my first birthday in Hawaii as a baby. It's a very important cultural birthday in Hawaii. And I lived in Hawaii for a period of time between 8th and 9th grade year. And so I love that, you know, Hawaii's the only place that has a royal palace. The Iolani Palace is the only palace that exists in the 50 states. And Chief of War is an amazing story about the unification of Hawaii. Jason Momoa, it's a passion project of his. And it's well worth the watch. He's more than the leader of the Dothraki from Game of Thrones in this. He plays Kaiana, which is this warrior who was the chief of war from Maui, who ends up pledging an allegiance to Kamehameha, the unification of the Hawaiian island chain. It's wild. And I don't know. I'm still trying to dissect the episode 9, the final episode. Momoa directs it, and it's wild. That's all I can say. But if you want to check out something, it falls along the lines of, like, you know, people forget that, like, Dance of the Wolves is a totally beautiful indigenous story. You read 90% of the movies in subtitle, you know, telling about the plight of the Plain Indians. And Chief of War is very much an amazing indigenous story that's pretty much all in Hawaiian, and it's worth your time. So I'd say check that out. It's a good watch. And then also stick on a lighter note, Owen Wilson, Mark Maron. It's a golf comedy with some serious, heavy life undertones in it. And they're both on Apple TV, and they're both a good watch. So there you go.
Awesome. What's your go-to comfort food right now?
Look, anything I can make in an air fryer, I'm doing. That's it. Here it is. I don't know. I asked my kids for a sous vide for Christmas. I got an air fryer. I was pissed. I'm like, why can't I sous vide poached eggs and make, you know, eggs Benedict? And I could just do these really nice, perfectly temperature done fillets. And instead I got the air fryer. I now have a love affair with my air fryer. I can make a chicken katsu in there that's super good. And I make a mean wing, and it's all without the oil. So I just look at my air fryer as a healthy way to live. And I can't say enough good things about my romance with my air fryer. But chicken katsu is kind of become a fan favorite in my house. And my kids are happy. So I'm introducing my comfort foods to my kids. And if my daughter's had like a rough week, she'll call me and be like, Dad, can you make wings? And so that makes me happy. I can make a bunch of buffalo wings, and my daughter will just like crush like 20. So, yeah, I guess that provides me a little comfort. It's like, you know, when you can provide others comfort, then I think that's a good thing too.
So AJ, you've had a number of careers already, long and storied. but what is the one thing you would do?
I think
If you had the
it's still the
choice
same
to do
thing
it
I
all over
told you
again.
guys. Like I'd be a dive boat captain, or I'd be a first mate or whatever. Like I'd love to work on a dive boat. I love to be on the ocean. I love the calmness of the ocean. I think what we discovered about all four of us is everybody here is a certified diver, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, 95% of people never get in the ocean, let alone go under it and spend time under it. And I was fortunate enough when, you know, and he'll be like name drop, but like when I was working on the movie Finding Nemo, you may have seen this movie, I don't know. Uh, we were asked if we wanted to get certified as for diving to kind of understand the movie we were making. So the studio helped underwrite getting certified to dive, and I got certified out at the Coast Guard jetty in Monterey, California, in storm season, which was like March, and it was 50 degrees and it was miserable. And I got basically zero visibility because you go 3,500 feet of water and you're in a sandstorm, and then out of nowhere, somebody knocks a mask off your face. You got to clear it. You have to remain calm. But I think what's amazing about diving is there's a certain element of calmness that you can't really replicate anywhere else. And so, you know, I'd like run a dive boat. There you go.
That's fantastic. That's great.
We going to figure out how to
I can
broadcast
see we can
one
do that after
episode
we
underwater.
do the podcast.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
An underwater episode.
Podcast underwater.
We just do a show underwater. Yeah, okay, that'd be good. We're all just live from the swimming pool at Marin County Dive Center. I don't know. That'd be pretty. Well,
It's
everybody's
Santa
got a
Clara. We could
remote
do it
in.
on campus.
We could do it.
Graham
The
Pools.
water is Graham Pool paved over now, though.
I think
No
so.
idea.
I think so.
Probably.
I don't think it's there. Okay, lastly, do you have a bucket list item?
AKA insurance liability. Oh yeah, my bucket list item.
Yeah, you've done so much. I'm just wondering what you haven't done yet.
I think I told you guys, I'm sort of actively. I mean, this podcast has been a kind of a bucket list item, which I'm really, I'm just thrilled that Mike kind of, gave me a good kick in the ribs to kind of get on board with this. I think it's been super fun, but I am also, I'm working on a children's book. I told you guys this, but I'm working on a kid's book. It's called Reginald Rooster Has Lost His Comb. It's about a cocky rooster who's a total dick. And he wakes up one morning and his comb is gone. And he's got to find his comb. And, he's been such a jackass to all the other barnyard animals that nobody really wants to help him, but they kind of do because that's what people do. And so it's a certain lesson in humility for Reginald. And hopefully everybody kind of gets on board and takes a little journey with Reginald. And maybe all of us have got a little Reginaldness. I hope not. I will raise my hand and say I kind of do. And maybe also being of maybe, 1969 is the year of the rooster. So that is my that's my Chinese zodiac. So I think there's a little bit of that involved. So yeah, but Reginald Rooster's lost his comb, and I'm trying to get off my butt and make it a thing. I actually do have the text, but now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to flesh out the art, and I think it could be fun. And then I'll self-publish, and nobody will buy it, but that'll be okay.
I'll buy it. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Right.
We'll support you.
Well, yeah.
I love it.
3 sales right here.
At $1.99. I love it. That's what I'm going to sell it for.
Okay, so
Well,
that
Mike,
brings us to the end of our first episode. Yeah. And hopefully we got it all recorded. Hopefully we'll have we can get this out there and share with you. I mean, even I said this before to you guys so many times now, you're probably tired of it, but even if we don't go further, it has been so much fun to reconnect with you and have this opportunity just to have laugh, talk about Santa Clara, and just, reminisce a bit. So it has been lots of fun. So again, in the future episodes, we're going to invite people to come along and share their experience. We'll have the fun and fast 5 questions, but we'll also have some nostalgic questions about Santa Clara. And then we'll ask them about how they're doing today and how they got there. Like, Kara and Charles really expressed, it's amazing these journeys we've been on. I'm so excited to hear about what people have done since Santa Clara and how they've made it to where they are today, because there really are some amazing stories out there. So look forward to that. Hopefully people will join us and look forward to that. So I think
Hey,
with
Mike,
that,
well,
you
hey,
know,
I want
yeah.
to run you guys. I wrote this tagline for the show, and I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I just want to run it by you guys. But I said, Mike has like, join us next time on Crossing the Alameda, where our stories reconnect. But I also had a thing of like, join us next time on Crossing the Alameda. Remember, like life, or like life, remember to look both ways with Jesus. I'm butchering my own tag phrase. All right, I'm gonna try it again. So, hey, join us next time on Crossing the Alameda, and remember to look both ways with open eyes and a smile.
It's good.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Is
Yeah,
that
I'm
all
very
right?
open to, we could try out a bunch of taglines, and we can have a new
Remember to
tagline
look
each week.
both ways, and if you don't have a bucket list, get a fucking list.
Yeah. Fuck it. Cross the Alameda.
Fuck it. Cross the Alameda. Don't look either way. Just fucking run.
Apologize for any of our friends who might still have young children around the house.
We're just locking in that advisory.
Yeah.
We're locking them in, all right.
So,
Guy's been ducking me for a year.
yeah.
I'm not going to put this on tape. I'll took my disgruntled off recording, anyways. But it looks like we've made an hour here, kids. An hour
Yes.
of content.
We can probably stop recording now if you want.
I don't know.
Unless we want to record how people should contact us.
I'm gonna roll out Charles' other tune just because. Let's play number. I think I opened with number one. We'll play number.
Before we roll out.
Yeah.
Do we want some contact information for how people can reach out to us?